And hello everybody, I am Tyler and I'm back with another episode of Shapes.io. And today we're going to pick back up right where we left off. Has been a little bit since I last left this off, so let me just kind of get myself caught back up. As you remember, we just set up the production line for this shape right here, which is green top half and cyan lower half. Oh yeah, and I just fixed the production issue where I had one thing just completely rotated wrong, but that's good for right now. So this will slowly produce that, which as long as that is working, we can go ahead and start expanding. No wait, yeah, I was doing that right. And as you can see from the main screen, I'm actually already catching up with the little bit that I played outside of here, so I'm hoping to keep this just as my main save for right now. And kind of just work on it over time as I make more content, and hopefully people do have some sort of interest in actually watching this, you know? And there you go. And since we've got 3 of each of these, I should just be able to support it by doing at least just 3 of these. Go ahead and add in one. Make sure we got our compact. And we'll just rotate you up onto there. Make sure we just connect the proper stuff, and there we go. So, and we can go ahead and check how much we're actually delivering. So 156, which is not bad. Now for granted, with our goal being at 3,000, that'll obviously take a little bit. We've got 2 options. We can either expand it to try and saturate the belt more, especially since right now we're still at 8 items a second, or we can focus on I think what I want to do is I want to split off the purples so that way we're delivering more of those. Because right now we still obviously want the stars, but we want to go ahead and just try and deliver as many as possible instead of having this backlog where nothing is being delivered. So this is quite a bit that's just getting not used at all because it was alternating. So although that's only going to be like a momentary improvement, but that's not bad for right now. Hopefully this will keeping up with the demand that we need. So let's make our next goal working on the red hidden wheel. First thing that we got to do is you'll notice that, like I talked about in the last video, we've got ones like this. So we're going to go ahead and set up our extractors. Go to, because I've not unlocked the chain ones yet, but we'll get there before you know it. And so now what we got to do is we're going to just start cutting these, and we only care about this half since we don't care about the squares. We have 2 options. If we wanted, we could actually just either send them directly to base or dye them blue and do that, but since we've got dedicated production lines, I feel it'll probably be more useful just to go ahead and trash it and just focus on getting this to work right now. This is where we will start doing that, and splitting things off there. And this goes back into where certain constraints kind of end up being weird, because even though this takes one input and gives two outputs, I can't do what I have been doing where I just one of these and then curve upwards or something like that. I do have to either go around or figure out another way of doing it, which going around is probably going to be easiest. And so we'll just cut like that. And we're just going to do the same thing yet again a couple more times. Trying not to just empty the other stuff directly into the trash can. I was like, that is one of the only things that I've really noticed so far, is just that sometimes the directions of the conveyor belts are not that great, but honestly, it really does not bother me because it's still pretty easy to work around, and there's just a lot of work that went into this game, so. Yeah, so let's go ahead and go back to doing 4 of each. Like that. And there we go. And now that we've got all of those together, I was like, we can put them all into one belt yet again. And now this time, what we need to do is we need to have them red. So we need one for the left side and one for the right side. So our best option is going ahead and splitting things off. And so the top half is going to keep them in one direction, the bottom half is going to rotate them. We just need to go, and it doesn't matter which way they rotate because 2 rotations will mirror it. Oh, I do not have these in the right way. So now that we have a left side and right side, we can go ahead and just combine them back together. And actually I'll move it so that way we can combine them a little bit better. And so we also have a couple other options for what we could do with this, because if we wanted, we could, we could actually have it set up where maybe we have 2 different production lines, and so this one can just be dedicated to the left side, and then the other one can be to the right side, or you just rotate them earlier on in the belt. But I think for right now, we should hopefully be able to keep up the belt saturation pretty well. But actually, I think I'm going to move this, just that way if we need to actually do anything more, I can just, if we need to expand, I can just do that later, instead of obviously blocking everything. So, those, and we'll combine them back together. Go. And I actually need to just build in one more space so I can split them off further. And we'll just keep following similar form that we have been. Split and split. And yeah, as I mentioned before, it was like, if you happen to pick this up yourself, just tell me below what you think about it. I think I would definitely be interested to see what other people have designed, and like, feel free to contact me on Twitter, which you should be able to find in the link down below. You can share with me the factors. It was like one of the updates they just did, I believe you hit F3. Yep, so you can actually export your entire base as a screenshot. So if you do anything really cool, just share it. I'm always interested in seeing how other people's thought processes. So, 1, 2, 3. One more. Keep up with having 4 of them. Now we need to figure out where we're going to pull red dye from. I think the best bet is we're going to pull red dye from here and then bring it down. So let's go ahead and just combine our belts right quick. There we go. And now we'll go ahead and get started over here. And it's funny that I'm doing this because I just noticed we're already at 2.3 thousand, which means we're getting pretty close to having the chain extractors set up, which I look forward to showing you because they are arguably the most useful for like making more compact design. We need to rotate like that. Get that onto the other side, and we will follow yet another design that we have been, where we just get our painter over here, get our painter over here, and we're just going to split off and rinse and repeat. And speaking of other designs, it's like if you happen to find anything that maybe you think's more efficient or anything on that end where you can maybe improve these setups, also feel free to share that as well, because I'm always interested in seeing different lines of thinking that I didn't see in the first. Like, as normal, one of the best parts about learning a new game is figuring out how actually everything like should come together. Seeing how other people process it, because when you have a conversation with someone about something, even if you both have similar thoughts, you're not going to have the same thoughts, and your interactions will always lead to new and interesting avenues. So I think there's a lot of potential for some really cool stuff, especially since this game just can go on infinitely and there's all sorts of shapes you can make. I would be interested to see, oh yeah, speaking of shapes like this where every corner is like just slightly different. Maybe, I'm not 100% sure, but I don't know if there's actually like a limit on how shapes can stack or anything. So maybe there's something in store on that end where you could do something fun like that. See what just absolutely obscene shape you can make or whatnot. Also, there you go. So like I said, you can forward them into other extractors and then they'll all output into one direction. Go. Yeah. So we just need this one last one. We'll have 4. We'll put everything together, and then I will start a new area where I actually make use of the chain extractors. And because one thing I always hate about the way extractors are set up beforehand is that you get just kind of eyesores like this. But you can just cover the entire space and then have it all in one input. Like, actually, we'll just go ahead and fix that right here. Go ahead and toggle, and you know that they're the chain ones because they are a little thicker. And like I said, all you gotta do is just make sure that they're facing another extractor, and there you go. And now, you just go like that, and all of its resources will go on to here, which means we'll pretty much always have the belt be saturated. because extractors do only 1.6 items per second, but you chain them into one another and it's 1.6, roughly 2 times 2, or 1, 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, 13. I mean, you're roughly getting, what, 40 just from this one output, which will be more than enough to saturate the belts until obviously we upgrade them a bit, but we're also not currently using 40 just through this smaller setup. So let's go ahead and finish this up right here. Now that we have 4 of these, go ahead and get that, and there we go. So as normal, and since we're going to be sending these back to the base, since that's going to be our next goal, we will go ahead and just go like this. The base all over here. So got a little ways to go, but that's the name of the game. If you've ever played Factorio, one of the fun things that you unlock at some point is like railroads, so you can access much further resource deposits. Actually, we'll just go ahead and cut through here. And there we go. Go ahead and start just delivering those at infinitum. Before you know it, we'll have 5,000 and our mixer and painting will be much faster. Now we have every single item on here being produced at least at some rate. Some faster than others, but we can always work on that later. So like if we wanted, what we could do is probably come here and we'll be making the blue squares faster, which honestly we probably shouldn't be too worried about because we have plenty, but they can always stand to be used and stored at least for later upgrades. Let's see here, what's our next upgrade? Ah yes, blueprints. So let's go ahead and work on that. So this is going to take a couple of steps because we need white dye, we need regular circles, and then we're going to need regular circles but with a square corner. So let's see if we can find a good grouping of things to work with. And so here's where we run into kind of like the open concept with this game, because if I wanted, what I can do is I can just farm this one circle output and then use our red, green, and or red, blue, and green, and just create the white circles in one area, and then we can go somewhere else. As you'll notice with here, we've got half square, half circle. So we would just need cut it and then cut this. Or what we could do is we could take the full squares and cut those into corners and then just rotate them into the direction we need, and then all we need to do is grab circles, cut, and then re-merge the bottom left corner to it and then the top left. This I haven't done anything with quite yet, just because I wasn't 100% sure how to tackle it, and if any time is a good time, I guess now is. So let's go ahead and at least get started with fusing our white color together. So yeah, let's start over here. So we got our chain extractor. connect everything like that, and it's a blue base too, so go ahead and just grab one, and we'll go ahead and do the same thing with our blue dye, or sorry, with our red dye that we did with our blue dye. And we'll go ahead and grab our green as well. And so as mentioned before, the way that color mixing works in this is it is additive. So all we gotta do is move this up one more, and we're gonna go ahead and split off half blue, half red. Then we'll probably just go ahead and control that over there. Now we're gonna mix those, have that come up here, so we're gonna have purple, which then we're going to combine with green, which will give us white. So you start that. Go ahead and do the same process that we have been doing. Have them completely the wrong way, as per usual. So skip like that. So now we've got 4 of those that are going to just be creating purple. Go ahead and hook up our blue connections, and as long as belt stays saturated for long enough, which as you see pretty quickly happen, even with them producing at that output, and we'll go ahead and combine everything yet again. And we're just going to do the same thing with the green line, or with our green and purple mixture. So for those, and let's go ahead and move up one more. The thing that should give us enough room if we decide we want to expand later. No, it does not. 2 more then, since the splitters take up 2 spaces. Boom, boom, boom. And now we can just do the same exact thing that we were doing before. And so as you see, that is now white. So now all we have to do is just grab some circles from somewhere and dye them white, and we've already got one part of the process done. The next part's obviously going to be a lot more intensive, but nothing that a little time won't fix, you know? And that's what always these kind of games come down to, is just the time you put in. If you have the time to play it, you can... I was like, you'll eventually reach whatever goal, even if it's not efficient. Obviously, efficiency will save you time, much just like on any project you work in the real world, but it's that kind of openness that really allows me to enjoy a lot of games like this, and I know have become pretty popular, which is why, like I said, I mean, Factorio I've put 200 hours into, just because there's nothing quite like starting a new factory and just seeing how well you can make everything. I know for myself, I tend to play with a similar rule set to how this is set up, like just infinite resource nodes, which obviously takes out a little bit of the design challenge. However, I like the ability to set up definitive resource points and then just work with that like it's an open thing. Just because there's a lot of cool stuff that you can end up doing as long as you don't run out of the resources. So now that we've got white set up, and this should be pretty balanced because it's just 4 and 4 of each, and they've got their own independent supply lines, which means we're not going to have to worry about the belts not being saturated enough, unless maybe this extends too far, but that should be okay for right now, because we should hopefully be getting an upgrade for the belt soon anyways. Which, speaking of, belts will be soon. These are taking a little bit, so I might bolster those later, but right now that's okay. Let's just keep working on the main goal. And I think that's the best circle source for right now, so with our new handy dandy chain extractors, they can just all go in like that, and we don't have to worry about covering any of it. We can just pull them on up, and since we want our shapes to be on top, we're just going to go ahead and pull it all the way around to our white dye right here, and pull our white dye there, and now we can start dyeing our white circles. I think I mentioned this before, but that's one of the other just kind of really nice things about this style of game is once you figure out what exactly it is that works for you, like I just understand how well this fits together because I took the time to design it and enjoy it, and now, I mean, I just can do the same setup over and over again pretty reliably. Obviously I make misclicks and stuff like that because I'm not perfect, but it, like I said, it was like you eventually just get to a point where you just know what you're doing. And no one can take that from me, as this is 100% whatever you want to do with it, obviously within the context, or like the scope of the game. But I think there is a nice bit of achievement that kind of comes with creating your own setup. Because obviously it was like, at the end of the day, anyone can follow a tutorial, anyone can follow how other people do things, but kind of coming up with stuff yourself, taking the time to do just that, like I said, it's an extension of you, and that's why creative work is fun. I think that people should just get the opportunity to enjoy how enjoy whatever way they process things. So for me, it's this style of game. Like I mentioned, I did a lot of engineering work and a lot of technical stuff, and everything just kind of fits together in a certain way when you're working in pieces that come together as a whole. But not everyone sees it the same way as I do, and that's completely understandable. So we got that. Now let's go ahead and bring on over our white circles, and now we're going to go ahead and switch over to this fun little shape. And this should obviously be fine for right now, but let's go ahead and melt this over here, and we're going to grab, I think the best way to do it right now is, I think we're going to take full circles, and I think we're going to do all of them that we make, we're going to just turn them into bottom left, and we're going to take these two supply nodes, cut them in half, and we're going to attach the circles that we're cutting down here to this, and then either we're going to farm this one just for top left squares, and we can trash the other half of this. And yeah, so I think that's where we're going to go. And I think I'm going to save that for next video because we've made a little bit of progress. We've got something new to look forward to, something to work towards, and I will be working on doing that. So let's go ahead and save and pause. And I just wanted to say thank you for taking the time to watch this. Again, I am Tyler. Hopefully if you enjoyed the video, you will like it, and feel free to leave comments below, leave in any sort of feedback or anything that you want to add into the discussion about this game. Outside of that, feel free to subscribe so that way you can see future content when I make it, and hope you have a great day. I will see you next time.